audience and those watching remotely today. We are happy to introduce you today to the 5 resident artists in government who are part of our Capital Region Creative Corps program. So to remind you, Capital Region Creative Corps is part of a statewide campaign funded by the California Arts Council as an outreach, communications, and engagement program designed to increase awareness around public health, civic engagement, social justice, community engagement, climate mitigation, and emergency preparedness. The Office of Arts and Culture received $4.75 million as the administering organization for the Capital Region. And in this role, we funded 26 projects in 5 counties that will end up employing more than 400, close to 500 artists in critical projects. The work is extraordinary and diverse, and I encourage you all to go to our Creative Corps website and check them all out. All the projects are there illustrated. But this afternoon, we are here to feature one unique factor of our program, and that's the 5 artists hired to work in positions in city departments and offices. Those departments are Climate Action and Sustainability, the Office of Innovation and Economic Development, Long Range Planning, Transportation Planning, and Youth Parks and Community Enrichment, otherwise known as YPSI. Today I was supposed to turn it over to Richard Falcone, my wonderful collaborative partner on this. He's delayed a little bit, but I'm sure you'll hear from him at the end. But first I want to thank the California Arts Council for providing this vital opportunity. And I really want to thank the 5 city departments that took a leap of faith and said yes to bringing an artist onto their staff. I think you're going to see today the fruits of their collaborations in their presentations. So now I'm going to hand it over to our first artist, who is Angie.
Good afternoon, commissioners. Thank you so much for inviting us artists to present our projects. I'm going to go to the first slide. Second slide. So my name's Angie Ng, and I worked in long-range planning with the Neighborhood Development Action Team, a wonderful group of people with a great leadership, Matt Hurdle, who is now the Assistant Director of Community Development Department. So at the beginning of my tenure with the city, I was working on workshop tools toward education campaigns on affordable housing, infill development, the ADU toolkit, and missing middle. So if you see in the top left of the slide is what I call the Great Wall of Acronyms. So I was attending the Planning Academy with 40 participants and noticing that a lot of the planning presenters spoke with a lot of acronyms. So as an educator and professor at NYU, I'm always thinking of learning devices, and I thought, well, what we need are table menus with acronym definitions to help understanding. So that was the Great Wall of Acronyms. On the right, you'll see a photo of a tree with tags on it. It's called a whoop tree. This whoop tree is a spin-off of a wish tree or prayer tree, but here it's advocating for more goal setting. So we're asking the community participants to not just think of the problem, but also think of the plan. So it's wish, outcome, obstacle, plan. And then on the bottom, you'll see Equalopoly, which was a spin-off of the game Monopoly. So I was working with Associate Planner Greta Suze on different engagement activities for a Planning 101 boot camp. So we were thinking we would have presentations and also these engagement activities. So for the first 4 or 5 months, we were doing these workshop tools, and I thought to myself, if I want to have more impact and leave behind more inspiration on how art can be a tool for social change, and in this case, civic engagement, I really needed to demonstrate to the staff how art can be impactful. And so it's working more adjacent to the job tasks of the staff and showing them by experience rather than doing these smaller projects. So the first project that we did that was in the community was with the community ambassadors and community engagement ambassadors. And I was talking with Associate Planner Nguyen, and when we were thinking about affordable housing, the ADU toolkit, and I thought, you know, when we address affordable housing for our aging population, we might be thinking of intergenerational living. So I thought, what could we do to promote intergenerational living and also lead the community to the resources that we've provided to the community on their website? So I came up with a campaign called Yes to Granny. And Yes to Granny was basically, instead of a political campaign for a candidate, it would be for our aging population. So Yes to Granny was going to be a political demonstration, but it wasn't a political demonstration. It was an art performance that we did at the farmers market, in the Midtown Farmers Market just last Saturday with the community engagement ambassadors, where we would be the spotlight and start engaging with the community, starting a dialogue and passing out merch like stickers. We were wearing the t-shirts and passing out pamphlets on infill development. Another project that I implemented to demonstrate how art can engage the community by experience was a contemplative walk called At This Spot. So the Planning Academy were doing historical tours, and I thought in order for us to unveil our blind spots, we really need to experience a space viscerally and behaviorally, inspired by the French situationists of the past 100 years who were thinking about human design of a space and not just designing space through commerce. Although that is important, it's also important that we think about how a city can be human-centered design. So At This Spot was a game where I asked the Planning Academy alumni to come and experience a space that was part of the 2040 general plan, such as Del Paso, Stockton Boulevard, and soon we're going to be doing the River District. And as you see, there's a deck of cards. And the participants were asked at different spots to pick a card and follow the prompt. So a prompt would be, for example, close your eyes and listen to the sounds. Or notice if the sidewalks are ADA compliant. Or count the number of trees on a street and so forth. So the goal is not to become a planner with the city of Sacramento. The goal is to become a planner. The planner mindset is when you bridge the left side, analytical side, with the right side, the creative mindset. And when you marry those two, then you could see how we can address social development. So that's the planner mindset. So what I wanted to leave behind with the city of Sacramento is not how an artist should be placed in government, but how creativity is necessary in our teams, and just showing them different ideas. Instead of a workshop with grants, what about a pop-up grant van? Instead of showing the architectural designs of an empty lot, what about the community being able to use augmented reality and upload their designs for an empty lot? Or instead of us interviewing the public, what about a POV campaign that the community leads in a cable television? So these are ideas that just planting seeds, and I think that that's where we can have impact. And to just, send the message out that art makes progress. It doesn't always make money. In my experience, it takes a lot of money. It's an investment. But if we can also consider that art makes progress, that's what we want to put out there. But thank you very much. And I have one last exercise. I know my 5 minutes is up, but we just did a Yes to Granny campaign. Here's our signs. And I'm going to do a short exercise with the commissioners because we're talking about engagement. So we're going to do a quick callback. So when I say yes, all of you are going to say to Granny. Can we do that exercise really quickly? All right. When I say yes, you say to Granny. Yes.
To Granny.
Yes.
To Granny.
Thank you very much, and I'm going to hand it to you.
Let me go forward here. Hello. My name is Ember DeBoer, and during my year with the city, I have had the pleasure of working with the community engagement team in the Office of Innovation and Economic Development. Upon arriving at the city as an artist who had never worked directly in government, there was a lot of upload. And as the first few months passed, I came to realize my role as an arts communicator. Looking out at my community and all the information that residents needed, I created the monthly Common Sense Zine. I'll pass them out to you after this is done. In order to combat the overflow of information and lack of credibility residents are bombarded with on the internet. An 8-page mini booklet with a full-size poster on the back aimed at empowering residents to be engaged socially, civically, or to seek opportunities for their own ideas in our community. This project is sustainable because it's printed on 100% tree-free banana paper to set an example of all the ways we at the city can imagine growing our efforts to benefit the environment. It's collaborative in essence. My goal was to collaborate with all 4 of my cohort members to diversify the information residents received from other departments. We also created a city tools page on the community engagement website that now hosts the zine and other valuable resources for residents to use online. Last month, we placed the free zine dispenser, you can see in the middle, out in the community and at City Hall. And next month, it will be out at local businesses to help residents access relevant information and important information. My next project, Letters and Lunches, was about building trust with the community one-on-one. I often think we can underestimate the power of simply meeting face-to-face or offering people the privacy and personal touch that comes with giving them our sole focus. I invited residents who would otherwise have no obligation or reason to show up to City Hall, like artists or creators or small businesses owners, and asked them to have lunch with me and then walk to a council or commission meeting. Let's see. The community engagement team is also incredibly creative. I had the opportunity to provide creative direction on our monthly City Connect mixers, where the staff goes out to meet the community at different venues and provide information and resources. The community engagement vlog started as the idea for a podcast, and through creative direction, testing, and teamwork, it became the SAC Vibes vlog. I'm sure the team is already planning the next season of interviews with staff and residents coming up later this year. And something that the community engagement team does often is tabling events. And I wanted to offer an alternative to the rinse and repeat tabling methods that are so common at events, and provide activities and interactive solutions for the team to get people engaged and keep them at the table. One of those was, what is your third space? Which was really a 4-question survey turned into a craft about where people spend their time and leisure in Sacramento. Third spaces are places other than work or home that are unproductive and recreational. Another project was Sustainability is Blank. That was an activation at Artivio Guerrero Park in tandem with the Office of Climate Action and Sustainability and Tanir's work and the Earth Day beautification projects. I took chalk and stencils to the park to create an interactive learning experience for park goers, encouraging kids and parents to explore animal footprints and questions about sustainability. Blank slots were left for people to respond and tell us what sustainability means to them, while being asked to consider their own footprint and the impact it has, adding a layer of magic and learning to an everyday place. Last but not least, I had the privilege of working with Megan and Vice Mayor Maple on engaging residents on our current city flag, introducing people to the flag, which many of people have never seen the flag, and then asking them what would the Sacramento flag look like if it represented you, utilizing approachable questions and empowering activities to embolden residents to be proud of our city. The job description described an externally facing creative messaging opportunity for artists, which I would argue we all achieved, but reflecting upon the real work and experiences, the changes that were made, and the impact of this residency, I would argue our role was more about improving and challenging the city structure itself and the relationship it holds with residents. I will pass to my coworker, Janine.
Good afternoon, Commission. My name is Taner Pashamametoğlu. Thank you for the opportunity to share today. I had the privilege of working with the Office of Climate Action and Sustainability in the Department of Public Works. Oh, and this should play. Sorry, do we have a way to play the video? Oh, there we go.
Okay, there you go.
Cool. Awesome. During the first week of this residency, I was provided a draft of the city's Climate Action and Adaptation Plan.
That's very informative, thank you.
It's an extensive document, as you can see, heavy with text, data, and policy recommendations. The document inspired me to think about how to make this valuable information more accessible and actionable for the public. Early in the residency, I was also approached by Matt Ironman, Director of Public Works, to collaborate on a presentation for City Council as part of their department budget audits. Instead of conventional graphs and charts, we transformed impressive statistics about frontline staff into dynamic visuals, highlighting their heroic work and making it more memorable for City Council's budget decisions. Not everything we developed made it into the presentation, but I think this exercise went a long way in demonstrating the value of storytelling in even some of the most data-driven parts of this work. I was also involved in the final stages of developing and launching the city's urban forest plan. My photojournalism background helped me capture the stark differences between areas of the city with plenty of tree canopy and those without it. This highlighted the need for more urban greenery to enhance the city's well-being. As I got further into this residency, I realized that visualizing data and opportunities was great, but doesn't do much if we lose sight about what this is all about, our people. I was intentional about engaging with a wide array of people and uncovering diverse perspectives. I documented many of my conversations showing that while we may have different definitions and ideas about climate change and sustainability, there was plenty that unified us in addressing the impacts we all feel. A common sentiment I got from many people was, what difference can I make as just one person? I got to meet Pamela, an Oak Park resident who recently had several energy-efficient upgrades in her home to make things more comfortable for her and her mom, who she takes care of. To her, sustainability wasn't about saving the environment or reaching carbon neutrality. It was much simpler than that. It was about family. I think she put it best when she said, sustainability is obligation rightly met, not at anybody else's expense. Her insights reinforce the idea that our outreach should be grounded in individual experiences and needs. Conversations like the one I had with Pamela eventually inspired a bit of a slogan: sustainability starts with us. I use this message to make the most of billboard space our department had access to around town. I developed multiple billboard designs to reflect the city's 3 pillars of focus, but with people at the forefront. I used existing photos that I found on the department's storage drive from past community events, often taken with simple camera phones. I wanted to also demonstrate that impactful visuals can be created sustainably too, without the need of large budgets and high-end equipment, but rather just a bit of creativity. The Sustainability Starts With Us campaign emerged and grew organically from there, unifying various community engagement touchpoints and assets for our office under one cohesive brand and message. And then if we can play the video here too. The Make Your Mark project was the centerpiece of my residency. It invited community members to contribute to a large-scale, abstract expressionist style painting. I used cool-colored, upcycled latex paints from the Sacramento Recycling and Reuse Center to symbolize heat-mitigating and emission-reducing tactics. I wanted to visualize the increasing frequency of extreme heat days in Sacramento, while also empowering people to help address the issue through small collective actions that will grow into significant impact over time. The painting was created over the course of 3 different events: the Ecos Earth Day event downtown, the Hagenwood Spring Family Social in North Sac, and the Back to the Boulevard Festival in South Sac. Over 100 participants contributed to the painting, while many others visited our booth to learn more and talk to the team. The final painting will be displayed at Hagenwood Community Center, where a portion of it was created. I'm hopeful it will inspire others to explore their creative potential and embrace sustainability. In closing, while I'm proud of the work I was able to complete, I am equally as proud of the foundations we've all set to hopefully continue integrating artists into this important civic work. I'm confident the impact of our work can be measured, but more importantly, I know it's been felt. By the end of this residency, I was really integrated with my team, helping establish processes and ideas to involve creativity and robust community engagement plans early on in grant applications and elsewhere. I'm confident this experience has shown us that artists can do more than just paint beautiful pictures on walls, but they can build those walls as well. bring people in, and elevate their voices to help reimagine something bigger and better for all of us. Thank you again. And I'll pass it to Jessica.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Jessica Wimbley, and I work with youth parks and community enrichment. And let me tell you, when I first came to the department, of course, all of us are familiar with parks. We understand that we have beautiful green spaces in our city to enjoy. But being an artist working with government, one of the things I started to learn was about the ecosystem of the government, all the different components, the size of the department, the amount of work that everyone does, and how well of an oiled machine it has to be to work efficiently. So I'm in awe and have been really inspired by working with YPCE in the department. So in addition to thinking about the parks, which is how I got access to initially just as a resident to YPCE, I also took time and started to learn about all the different community centers that are here in Sacramento and are a part of YPCE. And thinking about where are spaces in which creativity is happening. How is the community engaging in important creative work? And I was really moved by the work that was happening at Hart Senior Center. They really are able to focus on different social determinants of health, looking at how people integrate with community, how their mental health and well-being as well as physical health. And I was really moved by the life history, writing, and poetry program. Now, one of the things I'm looking at in terms of thinking about creative placemaking, again, is where's creativity happening? And you have this program that has a 30-year history that's documenting the diversity of Sacramento residents and their experiences here in Sacramento. Thinking about this amazing work that was being produced by members of our community that aren't often heard, we thought about the ways that could best highlight and spotlight and better integrate these stories into Sacramento's history. And so attending the classes, working with the writers from both the life history and poetry classes and collaborators from the Sacramento Library, in particular, the Sacramento Room, Sac State's Gerontology Program, and of course, the Hart Senior Center, we worked on archiving stories of seniors from the writing and life history programs in the Sacramento Room. We really were thinking about how this work was important to social justice in terms of the perspectives and the stories that you were hearing. You're hearing stories about what people were experiencing in internment camps, what Sacramento looked like during different points during redlining. You're looking at people's families' history during war, but also migrating here and making their way here through Sacramento. So a diverse group of stories are so important about our history. And another thing that's really important about the work that's being done through these stories is that this is really important for mental health. It's really important to share the stories, to have witnesses, to be able to commune and be in community. So this isn't just, I don't want you to think of it as just as a class. This is a community of creative folks who are an important part to Sacramento's legacy. So in working with archiving in the Sacramento Room, you had a lot of magical things that was happening there. You had families coming together to help tell their family stories. You had people who were performing their own original songs and music. You had over 24 writers who were participating in the program who are archived in the Sacramento Room, either through video or audio recording, which is huge. And part of that work, the Sacramento Room is actually the archiving is just not the process of the recording. It's about actually being a part of the library archives, which means that the public will have access to this, which means that generations of folks will be able to access this information and hear history about folks who've lived here in Sacramento and who are telling their stories. So what we're hoping to do, and this was something that was important in my role in the Creative Corps, was thinking about being able to do something that can continue beyond my tenure, because we do have a short amount of time. And so our hope is that we'll be able to continue this program with the partners that we've worked with so that it can be an ongoing feature and part of the Heart Center and a collaboration between the library and Sac State. In addition to thinking about that archiving, I'm also currently working on portraits while I was archiving, and this is just to give you an example of the type of portraits that I work on. I do self-portraits, but I also do family portraits. So this was something that really connected in a really strong way with me in thinking about how different folks are represented and how they're telling their stories. Another project that I'm working on is with Colonial Park, and it's on a transformation project that is in collaboration with Clean California, Sacramento State again, and Colonial Heights Neighborhood Association. Colonial Park, I've had a really good time learning more about the community, going to the neighborhood associations and events. I like to say if the apocalypse was to come, this is a community that I would want to be around because they have the skill sets to, make it during the zombie apocalypse. But one of the things that we worked with the community was thinking about what are the different ways you want to be reflected and represent a neighborhood in the community? And you have a lot of people engaged in planting and farming and gardening who are a part of the community, have a garden tour that happens. And so one of the ways to reflect the community, not only thinking of the plant life, but also the people, was looking at the actual gardens that they have and the flowers from their actual gardens and creating a design that reflects the nature that's in the environment that they're creating and contributing to. So I've been working on different mock-ups of designs for murals within that space, as well as recently engaged this Tuesday, and some community engagement, including doing a paint-by-number mural that featured some of the works in the aesthetics that you see some of these designs here. So I want to thank you all so much for the time. I am super long, and I know I went over, so thank you. I'm going to hand you over to Melissa, and thank you for your time.
Greetings, everybody. How are you, everybody?
Good.
You still hanging in there with our presentation?
Yeah.
All right. My name is Melissa Muganzo, and my pronouns are she, they, and sis. And I got the opportunity to work in transportation planning with my favorite person in the world, JDW, also known as Jennifer Dolan Wyatt. So a part of my work in transportation was just learning what transportation was and all the ways that the city of Sacramento even has transportation options. When we first met, we sought out to ambitiously create a series of visual projects to help share out all of the countless hours that the Transportation Planning Department puts in to make sure that we get to mobilize all the different options the city has. However, instead, I actually ended up learning about all the ways that I did not know what was available out there. And this is actually a picture of us supporting our colleague who was a civic fellow who worked, again, to mobilize a lot of transportation efforts that the city put together for people that were working in bike workshops and utilized light rail and buses. And this is us just hanging out. But we got together and really understood all the ways that they were still needed to make transportation become more equitable for communities that were harmed by the city of Sacramento, and to make sure that people even knew what options were out there. In the numerous engagement events that I got to capture, I got to see all of the stakeholders and all of the people that are doing extremely good work in the community. And I got to be able to put together scripts for the various videos that I was putting together. On putting together scripts as someone that is a showrunner and an actor and a producer is getting to storytell. And storytelling is so important because you get the opportunity to put together history in real time for people that are no longer with us and people that are desperately trying to make a difference and people who feel like their voices aren't heard. I also got to learn about some new language like walking, biking, and rolling to make transportation. And in doing so, I met thousands of people that were out there that were trying to get their voices heard. People that utilize bicycles every day, people that utilize walkers, people that utilize wheelchairs, people that utilize just walking the different biking trails that are out there, people that also use the light rail for daily work and community needs, and also things like grocery pickup and delivery. And it made me realize that not only do I get the honor to put visuals on that for people, but I also get to leave a legacy of hope and show the countless hours of work that my team is putting together in writing grants and making sure that people feel seen and heard. On top of that, I also got to participate in a number of professional development opportunities with my team where we would have things like mini TED Talks and Toastmaster presentations to talk about how art is life. And this is from one of those slides where I say that everything around us in real time is a representation of storytelling and imagination, including this room right here. Someone thought that designing this room just like this would be the perfect way for you all to make a difference in the city of Sacramento. And this is a video that I got to put in for the tip of the month and a part of SAC Vibes where I got to collaborate with my colleague Ember to let people know transportation tips that they should use. Hey y'all, guess what? It's time for tip of the month. And so little videos like this where I get to encourage people to drink more water on 3, triple-digit days in Sacramento, or sign up for our newsletter that's in our transportation department, or did they even know about different biking trails that are available instead of maybe getting congested in your vehicle on a freeway? Or did you know that the light rail can take you places in less than 25 minutes versus being stuck in hour-long traffic, especially on the 80 during that 7:30 to 8:30 a.m. hour? These are also other visuals I was able to capture out in the community from Corremos Sacramento, which is a great running group, and also some visuals of the videos I was able to put together as we wrap up my final time in the department. And just so you know, all these people are out there on those triple-digit days, by the way, being able to run. This was us outside for Happy May is Bike Month, celebrating the beautiful journey from City Hall to Oak Park Brewing. And this is the beginning visuals for our current effort, Streets for People. Where it shows people all of the ways that we are making the streets more equitable and correcting some of the things that we don't get to see because we're a small team and the city of Sacramento is very large. So we are very excited about that final thing, and I'll actually, after this meeting, be leaving to go do some voiceover work to put some voiceover over those visuals. So last but not least, I'd like to leave you with the phrase that I like to use all the time, which is do it afraid, and as my mentor says, first, and then with confidence. And the reason I say that is because making change in the world can be very scary, especially if you feel like you're a team of one and nobody hears you. But the more you do it, the more confident you get and the more you establish legacy. And there are people that are so excited that your voice is being heard on this panel, much like us as artists. And there are also people that are actively waiting for you to speak up on behalf of them because they don't have the courage to do so. So we want to thank you all so much for supporting us. And at the end of the day, you were born to enjoy life fully, and art is activism. And all of us, although we are artists, also serve as cultural activists and cultural bearers to help tell stories of people that are not able to. So thank you all so much for your time, and I'll pass it over to Richard Falco.
Forgive my tardiness, but I'm so glad to be here and share with you these wonderful Sacramento artists. Give it up and for yourselves as commissioners. And I want to touch on what Melissa ended with, and that phrase of do it first afraid and then with confidence, because if not for the confidence of Megan, if not for the confidence of Melissa, if not for the confidence of Jason, this particular project would not have been considered as part of something that Sacramento is taking the lead in, and that is putting artists in government. And so there are many, many press articles that you could take a look at to learn more about what we have been doing. I think Melissa touched a little bit briefly on the the Capital Region Creative Corps. Learn more about that. That is our website that you can go take a look at to find out about the 26 awardees that also participated in projects throughout Solano, Yolo, Sacramento, El Dorado, and Alpine County. We have spent a considerable amount of labor and finance into producing wonderful things that, if only, we could keep it going, and that's where you all come in. As we're talking about budget cuts, as we're talking about budgeting priorities, as I tell everybody that I work with, no matter what sector you are working in, don't forget your artists. So with that, thank you very much, and if you have any questions for anybody, let us know.
Thank you so much to all the artists, just really inspired and really creative ways to incorporate the arts in city government. Really innovative. Oh,
Zines for y'all.
thank you. Thank you. I'm sure we might have questions. Are there any questions from the public, Heather?
Thank you, Chair. There are no speakers for this item.
Okay, and from the commission, I have Commissioner Martino.
First of all, thank you so much for sharing your awesome projects and for doing all of that work. I'm feeling so inspired even for the projects I'm working on, so thank you so much. I'm just wondering if the city has any plans to try to fund this project in the future of having the artists in different offices.
This is a program near and dear to my heart. I get emotional every time I think about all of these artists and the work that they've done. Obviously, it is a program that I think we've demonstrated that it has a positive effect. I could see the far-reaching possibilities in this program. We don't have the funding to continue it now, but I do know that all of the Creative Corps communities have been so emboldened by the Creative Corps project in general that they are coming together to try to figure out are there ways that Creative Corps can continue, and this is throughout the state. So there is great hope. No answers right now, but yeah, we see the value of it.
Thank you. Commissioner Winlock.
Wow, I am just so excited about this program that's a part of it. But I have a question for the artists. When you all were working with the department, part of the issue is that you're going to be gone. What do you think are some of the things that you instilled into that department to say, you know, we're going to do this whether the artist is there or not, but it's a part of it? Can anyone kind of address that issue? Please.
I'm new to all this. Yeah, that's a great question and something I was considering, especially in the latter part of the residency where you're trying to wrap things up and keep momentum on the things you're doing. I think with my team, they were just so gracious and so accommodating. They looped me into every meeting and just made me feel like a part of the team. And that was a really important part of this. Is so having collaborative people within the city is a huge first step. But I think one thing that I was able to demonstrate is, especially in grant applications, I touched on this a little bit in my remarks, but for grant applications, the Sustainability Office, they rely heavily on grants as well to fund the things they're trying to do. And so they need to be very competitive when they're applying for grants. And one way to kind of be more competitive is in those community engagement parts of the grant application that seem pretty prevalent and seem to have quite a bit of weight to them. And so if you can demonstrate in your grant application that you're going to do more than just go to city events and table and hand out flyers, but you can actually integrate with people and find really interesting and creative ways to build infrastructure, to build creativity into those communities and not just show up and give your talking points and leave, then I think that really sets you up to win more grants. And I hope that that's something that continues, whether it's me or other artists. I hope that my team feel empowered now to seek more creative perspective in their grant applications.
Thank you. Commissioner Lamelli.
Yeah, just to answer your question about the sustainability of the program once we're gone. And that's what I was thinking about at month 5. And so when I did the art walk, I said to the planning staff, okay, which staff are going to be involved, because I'm going to train you so that you can continue it. Also, the Planning Academy alumni were involved because these are leaders in the community. And I said to them at the end, please replicate it, borrow from it, combine it with your historic walk. Please use it. So this was the point of the art walk. It's not attached to me. It's actually a tradition. It's like a 100-year-old tradition as well. And same with the Yes to Granny. Nguyen, the associate planner, called me the night before when we did the art performance on Saturday. And I said, okay, so what we're going to do is have the staff sandwich us, and they're going to be the ones that are going to be passing out the flyers and answering the questions as everybody's doing the callback. And he said to me, oh, I get it. The flyers and dialoguing with the community, that's the engagement. I said, yes. The actual like art stunt, the performance is like grabbing the attention. The interaction is when you start answering questions and talking to the people and then giving them information so that they realize that when they're tabling events and they have all their literature and charts and they're just sitting there waiting for the people to come to the table, no, you need to go to them and, do something outside and do something that's a spectacle so that it grabs attention and then it engages them.
So how confident are you that you believe that when you're gone, that they're going to be putting these practices into their work? How confident are you?
Elizabeth? I walk, handing them the directions. We call them scores in art performance. Like, here's the score, here's the set of directions. They're already doing historical tours. They never thought like, oh, yeah, close your eyes and listen to the sounds. Close your eyes and smell around you. Or, maybe just a set of cards in the historical tour can get people to interact. So I'm hoping that it inspires them, and it really is up to the supervisors to say, hey, let's like up the ante and, borrow from the artists. Yeah, but thanks.
One of the ways that I think the department will be able to sustain what we've learned together is just simple language. Coming in as an artist to government, wow. The acronyms, we've got to do something about that because it was a lot to take in. I feel like we were speaking different languages for the first 6 months. Like if I say things, oh, let's get B-roll and I'm going to do VO, and it's like, Melissa, what are you talking about? Or they're talking about all the different commission acronyms. Shout out to all of you, but there are a lot of commissions, a lot of councils, a lot of acronyms, and some of them even sound the same. And so, and also knowing what you can do with the budget. Yes, we have a budget, but what can you do? What is expendable, especially for all of us when the budget came into play? It had to be spent before we left. So even the sustainability of any of our influence, it was hard to determine what that could look like because we're all leaving at the same time. So I feel like one of the ways that we'll be able to sustain in the department is realize it takes about a year to build familiarity and comfort around putting artists and artistry and creativity in a system that is very structured and sometimes leaves no room to think outside of this very black and white textured box. And also finding new ways to communicate with the community you are trying to help. Because if me as an artist who is excited about coming into government and is willing to learn these acronyms is still having a hard time, I can only imagine the people that were here trying to help, trying to understand the language, even listening to this meetings of what are they saying. We just know something got approved, something got passed, but what is that, and how does that directly impact me as someone that cares? So I think that will live on.
That was a great explanation. I just wanted to add on a short commentary about the zine, which you all just got passed to you. The zine was my version of how does the city continue what I came to do. Zines are not something I own. I did not come up with zines. Like Angie said, they're a tradition. They're something anyone can do. They're DIY. You can make them however you want. A zine is a zine when you call it a zine. It's a piece of art. It's not just a flyer, it's not just a piece of paper. I hand stamp, drawn, and sign every copy. I put custom art pieces in all the editions when I can, when I have time. And the zine is something that anyone on the community engagement team could take up if they wanted. It would not look the same as my zines, but that is okay because the zine is information. I designed it to be monthly so that it would keep people up to date on monthly things and condense it. 2 short sentences. What is this? Why does it matter to me? Because that's the only bandwidth people have. I was astounded by how many months it took me for me to get uploaded on paid time. It took me paid time to get uploaded and understand how this local body of government works. And I thought about all the people who feel like they barely have time to show up for an hour. And so the zine was about condensing that. What do you need to know as a resident that's relevant to you this month? And it's this month's zine, so you know that it's recent, that it's not something that you can't do anymore, you can't show up to. The goal of the zine was to only showcase things that you could show up at future events to use your voice, rather than taking a stance, summarizing things for people. It was about propelling forward motion by letting people know about things before they're over. Something I've noticed in my time in Sacramento is silos are really damaging to supporting local opportunities. When we don't know about things ahead of time, we can't support them. And it takes so much energy to do something once. We're so lucky if it happens twice. So the zine was an effort to take better advantage of the quality of our existing culture in Sacramento and to create something that hopefully the community engagement team feels bold enough to do themselves.
Hi, everyone. To answer your question, I was thinking about that very issue in terms of thinking about what can we do in a year? Because a year is a good time to learn, and if you can squeeze in time, you're able to try something and test it. So in my thinking, it usually takes 3 years of learning, testing it out, fixing and making things, making it better and tweaking to really get something kind of indoctrinated or integrated into the habit, the culture, or within departments. So I think in terms of being a part of the creative core and the time that myself and my cohort had, we had a short amount of time to accomplish a lot. And I think a lot of that work was about learning and building infrastructure. And so for thinking about the Sacramento room, part of what I was looking at is how you can leverage relationships and resources that the city has to help build scaffolding that helps to build a program or event that can be sustained, because it's totally not contingent on me. It's contingent on the senior stories. It's contingent on the Sacramento room documenting and archiving them and holding them. So it's not so much contingent on me solely, and I don't want it to be. It's about bringing something to the department and to the community that can help celebrate the work that they do and build enough investment so that it can continue on without us. And I think in making the art and the things that we're doing, that's kind of all the goals that we have, is to be able to be like, look, this is what can be done. This is what people are responding to. We're kind of in the middle of community engagement in our departments and seeing how we can test and understand what the community needs are, what they're responding to, and what the departments can do. So I do think it is something corely all of us were thinking about in our positions, and I think that was a really excellent question. So thank you for the opportunity to let us answer that.
Yes. Thank you so much. Commissioner Lamelli.
Thank you. Is it okay if I make a comment? Yeah. Well, I wanted to thank you guys all for sharing with us. I actually feel like I can give a bit of a testimony to how it actually worked, because I was part of the City Planning Academy. So I got like firsthand experience of how like you integrated like that art, and I thought it was like, for me, it was like a lot of fun, like doing the whole program and being able to kind of visualize. I remember like they would say the acronyms, and like the little stand was there in the middle with that, and it definitely helped. I think it helped like connect with other people that were on the table, so it helped to build relationships. And the part about where we saw like the Monopoly, that was really visually like helpful. in like learning. And I think that those things like really made an impact on me, and I'm sure that it helped everyone in the academy. So I think that definitely art is super important to bring in, you know, like that question I think is super important. Like I think that having artists in government makes the biggest difference. Just because it's so closed off, it's so monotone, it's like not accessible, it's not open to everyone, and art always brings people together. I think no matter like, you know, the different mediums or how we kind of do it, it's really, you know, the social justice, the mental health, the storytelling, like it always brings people together, even like within cultures. So I think it's really important, and I think, yeah, thank you so much for all the work that you guys did. It's really inspiring as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Ohegbu. Did you want to? No, Commissioner Ohegbu, did you?
I think it was.
Oh, Cruz, it was you. Sorry. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Is this on? Thank you. I just wanted to make a compliment to you all. One, thank you for all your efforts. I think that this is all consistent with our mission of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So thank you for meeting that greater end. But I was also especially, and I'm biased, I was especially impressed with Jessica Wimbley, because I grew up in that neighborhood. I grew up down the street from what is called the Senior Center. We had a different name for it back then, but okay. Anyway, and what I really liked is the history that you're teaching, you know, social justice history. It's what others might dismiss as critical race theory, but it's still part of that greater mission of inclusion. So I wanted to thank you for that and let you know that didn't go unnoticed. So thank you again.
Thank you, Cruz. Commissioner Lovullo.
I just wanted to say I was very impressed with your guys' presentations today. I always have to look at everything from a mother's standpoint, because I only think I'm sitting here just because I'm a mom in this community. And so everything that you guys did, I could see my kids in your guys' plans. And what especially spoke out to me the most was sustainability, right? The sustainability starts with us. That means that I'm included in that us part, and everything that you guys did was very family level for me. Like even this, I'm like, oh, I'm about to do this zine too with my kids. So that's cute. That's really cute. I just want to say I appreciate your guys' work on the level from the people, from the ground, right? Because I often think that the city comes from the top, and it takes ground level people to actually touch who we're really trying to get a hold of, and which is, for me, it's always my family. So I can see my kids in all of these plans that you guys are doing. So you guys are doing an awesome job.
I'd just like to add a comment too. And first of all, I hope everyone opens the zine and sees this amazing poster. It says City Council, the street address, and how to even enter the building. It should be plastered all over around the building. And I hope you have an opportunity to present to City Council. I think the City Council should hear this, because this really is an innovative way to influence and change and make much more efficient and inclusive, as Cruz was saying, city government. We all know ways that it needs to do better, and what better way than having artists come in and help the city. So thank you. And on sustainability, one thought I had, this is more directed to Richard and to Melissa, you know, maybe it might be great to get testimony from city staff just on how it's improved, I don't know, processes and engagement, outcomes and impact, you know. So again, thank you so much, and I hope that there's ways to continue this program. My gosh, it's wonderful. Okay, I think we still have a few more agenda items. Moving on to item 3. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, Jason, please.
No, I just wanted to add to the accolades, the months of hard work and just the resulting contributions that the 5 of you have given to our community as a gift. It shows the power of arts and creativity, and when you trust in the vision of artists and you give them the tools and resources to make their visions a reality, anything is possible. I want to just commend you all on that, and to also acknowledge one last time your ringleader and project coordinator for this, Richard Falcone on staff, who has done a tremendous job. Of course, under Melissa's direction and in partnership with the rest of our staff and departments throughout the city. Can't thank you enough. Again, for those who might have missed it, it was on the screen just a brief moment. It is capitalcreatives.org, and that's the website. And you can go to that site, bookmark it, learn more about the program in our city and all of the Creative Core organizations that we've supported with the help of the California Arts Council. So thank you all.
Thanks, Jason. Okay, moving on to item 3, temporary public art